video you will be learning about polysaccharides, which are the higher and complex structure of carbohydrates. So in the last video you have learnt about the monosaccharide derivatives and disaccharide derivatives. So this unit will be about the importance and partial structure of polysaccharides. What are polysaccharides? These are mostly polymers which is having high molecular weight. Polymers means they contain repeating units of subunits. So in this class you will have repeating subunits of monosaccharide units. And if you see the structure, it consists of about 100 to 1000 of simple or derived monosaccharide units which are connected by glycosidic bonds, of which D-glucose will be the most common building block in polysaccharide. However, you can also see mannose, galactose, xylose, arabinose, glucuronic acid and galactouronic acid. So for your syllabus you need to learn about the source, partial structure, biological function of starch, glycogen, cellulose and chitin. So let's start with starch. Starch is a storage polysaccharide of plants and it is an energy reservoir which is also the main carbohydrate and energy source in human diet also. Like your rice, wheat, corn, potatoes contain large amount of starch. This structure of starch consists of two components, which is amylose and amylopectin. If you see amylose, it is a unbranched chain and this amylopectin is a branched chain. So about 10 to 30% of the starch consists of amylose and 70 to 90% of starch is made up of amylopectin. So this slide gives you the comparison between the amylose and amylopectin. If you see amylose, it consists of long unbranched D-glucose molecule which is linked together by alpha 1,4 glycosidic bonds. So about several thousand of D-glucose residues will be held together by glycosidic bonds. So if you see the molecular weight, it varies from 150,000 to 600,000. The molecule of amylose is helical in structure, so that it is very prominent for the storage function. So if you try to react it with a molecular iodine, it forms a complex which is blue in color. If you carry out enzymatic and acid hydrolysis of starch, always amylose will yield glucose and maltose molecules. Coming to amylopectin, it is also a straight chain of glucose which is joined together by 1,4 glycosidic bonds. But however, for about 24 to 30 units, branches occur with 1 to 6 glycosidic linkages, giving two side chains. Thus, amylopectin is a branch structure which consists of between few thousand to million glucose units, and it has a molecular weight of several millions. So if you are trying to react starch with or amylopectin with iodine, this gives red to purple color, and on partial enzymatic or acid hydrolysis, amylopectin yields glucose, maltose and isomaltose. The next polysaccharide branch we will be learning is glycogen, which is nothing but the animal starch. Just like the starch, even glycogen is a storage polysaccharide, but it is present in animals and in particular vertebrates. It is present in almost all cells, but abundant is seen in liver, so about 8 to 10% of the wet weight, and in muscles about 2 to 3% of the wet weight. So if you see the partial structure of glycogen, it is very much similar to your amylopectin. It has a straight chain of glucose residues which are linked together by 1,4 alpha linkages, and the side chains are linked by alpha 1,6 linkages. So it is very much branched when compared to a starch. So the branching points will occur every 8 to 10 residues, and the overall structure will be something like this, which looks like a tree. On hydrolysis, the glycogen will yield glucose, maltose and isomaltose on the branched point. The next class of polysaccharide that you will be learning is cellulose. Cellulose is a structural polysaccharide and it is the major component of plant cell wall. It is the most abundant organic compound on earth. If you see the structure, it consists of a linear polymer of about 15,000 D-glucose units which are joined together by beta-1,4 glycosidic bonds. So on hydrolysis, this cellulose will yield glucose and some cellobiose, which is due to partial hydrolysis. See the properties of cellulose. Human and most higher animals cannot digest this cellulose because we don't have the enzyme which is capable of hydrolyzing this beta-1,4 glycosidic linkage. Some ruminant animals like these cows and termites, they have symbiotic organism in their digestive tracts which produce this enzyme cellulose. So this cellulase, an enzyme, can break down cellulose. However, cellulose is one of the several plant products that are part of dietary fiber. So this promotes good health in humans by facilitating easy passage of the food down in the digestive tract. So if you see adjacent straight chains of cellulose, these are held together by hydrogen bonds to form a sheet-like strips called as microfibrils. So many such sheets are stacked one upon the other to form macrofibril. The whole assembly is stabilized by again intermolecular hydrogen bonds, and this highly cohesive structure makes cellulose fibers water insoluble, and that gives them the exceptional tensile strength. The last category of polysaccharides as per your syllabus is chitin. Chitin is the second most abundant natural polymer in the world. If you see the structure, it is a linear homopolysaccharide which is consisting of repeated units of N-acetyl glucosamine. If you recall, N-acetyl glucosamine is a derivative of monosaccharides. Homopolysaccharide means I had already explained you in my previous video. This consists of single type of glucose molecule, sugar monomer. This N-acetyl glucosamine are linked together by beta-1,4 glycosidic linkages, and if you see the structure of chitin, it is very much similar to your cellulose, but the hydroxyl group on each monomer is replaced by an acetylamine group. So that is the difference. So if you study the structure of cellulose, you can write it for chitin, but instead of hydroxyl group at C2 position, you need to write the acetylamine group. Biological functions. So it is a major component of the cell wall of many fungi and of many insect exoskeletons. So the main function of this chitin containing exoskeleton is to keep the inner soft tissue safe from any injury, and if this exoskeleton acts as a watertight barrier against dehydration, which is very important for their survival. if you see the fungi, the fungal cell wall that protects the microorganism from the outside environment is made up of this chitin. The hard chitin containing exoskeleton of arthropods also acts as a defense mechanism against predation. So these are the functions of chitins.